You can't always rely on the audience because, I mean, as they've seen in the last quarter, the audience feelings toward the companies are changing sometimes. So they need to think really long term. And Cover Corp and their competitors are starting this big project. So Nijisanji, they gotta keep up. They gotta invest in something. And right now they're only reinvesting in buying by stocks. For example, we held an AR live concert in the 4th quarter, and more recently we've been working on a 3D debut broadcast and Niji EN Encounter, a music content project which bears of people create release songs. The AR live has been viewed by many more people than we expected. Of course, we recognize that there have been some changes in our audience behavior. What do you guys think they're talking about here? Hello everybody, what's up? What's up? And today, Nijisanji quarterly reports. This is the theme of the stream. We're gonna go over them. I know other people have gone over them already, but the investors Q&A and presentation transcript came out, and this is the part of the quarterly reports that I actually enjoy reading the most, so why not go over it? I think it's the most insightful too. It says a lot. We can go over like the big parts first. I mean, I commented on it on Twitter. I find that part really funny. That part. So this is the Q4 for 2023. Notice how this page is, and now is presented like this. They don't have Niji EN. They removed the Niji EN graph from the presentation, so you wouldn't notice what happened with them. Interesting parts, real quick. So mainly this is the big like striking difference. This slide has been the exact same every time I've seen one of their quarterly reports, and now it just looks like this. So yeah, but they basically say that membership and advertising revenue is the same. Their profits are actually up overall. It wasn't as hyped as everybody was kind of saying it would be, and as bad as everybody was saying it would be, mostly because, well, Nijisanji knows how to do quarterly reports. They know how to speak to their investors. They've been in the game for a while now, and I mean, it's just not the first time that a big billion-dollar company's had a bad year or less than good performance. They just know how to make those lower performing numbers look okay in an investor meeting. And today the stocks opened, and I should have probably organized this, and it actually was up 450 points, I believe. Loki, Niji will get some hate, but I don't blame them. I'm a bit worried that the fans would likely to destroy the booth on both Niji JP and EN. I hope they have security there. That's a good point. Hope he best behave unless addressed in some sort. I'm so concerned about both Rosemi and Scarly. A lot of people are saying that Niji EN is done. Why is that? I've done my share of presentations and PPTs in my day, and I can see how much brain power went into changing the graphs to look good. Oh yeah, okay, it went in twice, I think. I mean, there are some companies, sometimes I watch a lot of documentaries, and some companies had a way of showing, you can even hide like frauds have been hidden by just showing the numbers in a different way and alternating some numbers. Obviously, I'm not saying that Niji's doing that, but I'm just saying the way you present stuff is like really important. I don't think people would be that hateful to them, stuff like that. I hope not. I hope not. Short the spike, make that bag, it's free money. Exactly. I mean, Nijisanji's always been carried by their GP branch, their JP company. That makes sense. What I really find interesting is somebody compared the Hololive and Nijisanji numbers, And there was like some stark differences there. I also want to show you guys this graph. It's kind of like always the same thing. They're always talking about how they're gonna focus on the Vtuber units, etc. The rough mayo and stuff. Oh, by the way, people are like, there's another rumor that I need to debunk. Some people are saying that Billy left. They left the Nijisanji thing very recently, but it's actually been gone for a while. By doing this, they tried to obscure the EN disaster, but on the other side, by doing this, they kind of hide away that what a good quarter JP have had. Wait, really? Wait, let me see again. I guess... I mean, you could just compare the numbers, though. You pretty much just I guess you can just... Well, maybe I shouldn't say anything because there's maths involved, but you could just take the total number here and then... Oh no, that doesn't make sense, actually. Never mind, never mind. You know what? I failed that maths and I failed that 5th Gruder test, so I just shouldn't say anything. You guys think Scarly should quit? Really? No, I don't think she should quit. I think Scarly's doing so great at Nijisanji. I really don't think Scarly should quit. Have you seen how much Scarly makes? She's making banks right now. I'm gonna look up her channel. Plus, she would lose her model. When did Scarly debut? She's made $700,000 so far. Okay, maybe she's... What's 30% of 700,000? She's made like 210k still. When did she start? Scarly's been doing really good because she's managed to steer clear of every controversies. And she kind of just does her own thing, so if somebody else's reputation gets tarnished, she's never affected by it. And I don't know if she's usually alone and doing her own thing because she's excluded, quote unquote, or if she doesn't have interest in, or is it just because or is it just on purpose? I don't know. She not get along with the rest, or it could just be hazardous. Okay, so live, all this is Scarly's channel. She's been streaming for what, 2 years now? That's a lot of videos. She streams so much. Wait, I could just sort by oldest. Okay, so she's only started streaming a year ago. Wait, she's made that much? Yo, no, she's making bank. She should actually stay there. Let's look at the exact date. Her debut stream's called Mommy's Home. July 24th. Oh, 2022. Yeah, no, you're right. It is 2 years. It is 2 years. If you check the stock, someone bought a lot of stocks in one day. Seems like someone inside the corp bought a lot to make things look better. Yeah, but how much is a lot are we talking about? It could just be a large shareholder too. The thing is, the stocks were gonna go up because the presentation wasn't bad. In the presentation, they're up. And the Niji stock is really low right now. There's like no reason not to buy Niji stocks when you see that. As someone who has to put together monthly number boards for presentation for boards of directors, they prefer pictures over numbers. This report was great obfuscation. Hell yeah. Scarlett should finish out her contract and go somewhere better. We all know Niji is keeping the dollars. She'd have to go somewhere else and be able to retain. The thing is, even another company would take half of her money. Unless she goes indie. She'd have to go indie and retain like 60% of her fan base to make even. Right now she's making 100k a year. That's not bad. That's not bad. Imagine if you made 100k a year. I'd probably keep that job. So it's very interesting to me that Cover has way less VTubers, but they have way more personnel. I'll go over each number. So this is the revenues. Promotion for Nijisanji compared to Hololive are definitely down. Like Hololive did almost twice as much as they did. A little less than twice. The events, Cover's doing so much more in terms of events. Nijisanji is really missing out on the revenue from events there. It's a huge difference. But in terms of merchandise, Nijisanji makes more than Cover by a small margin though, like around 600. That isn't so bad, and I have a feeling that's because of the number of Nijisanji VTubers that they have. They just get to constantly pump out new collections, new lines. There's a new merch that comes in that gets released whenever somebody's birthday is up, etc. And in terms of live streaming, Niji is doing a little bit less than Cover Corp. So Cover Corp has more. Well, Nijisanji's revenue comes from the number of VTubers that they have on their board. And each VTuber earns smaller amounts of money that add up. Meanwhile, Cover Corp has less VTuber, but the quality of their viewers and the quality of their audience is higher. They're more engaged, therefore they're donating more, they're watching more, and all of that adds up. Like the AdSense money, the memberships, and the super chats. Niji did a stock buyback. It raises the prices. They haven't done the stock buyback totally. I think they do that in batches. Wait, this is the stock buyback page. Stock repurchase based on Article 156. The reason for treasury stock repurchase is the company has been continuously generating a large amount of cash while maintaining a high growth rate, and today announced that it has formulated a midterm capital allocation policy to optimally allocate investments for growth and shareholder returns. Based on this policy, in order to improve capital efficiency and enhance returns to shareholders, the company has decided to repurchase its own shares, taking into consideration its investment capacity, stock price level, market environment, and outlook for its financial condition. And I think the reason why they're doing that is that it's kind of like giving money to everybody that owns a share. They talk about it in the investor meeting. They say something like, we could have given out dividends, but instead of doing that, because most of the dividends would go to Tazumi anyway, they spin it that way. They're like, instead it's better to do the stock buyback. That way even the smaller shareholders get to be rewarded. I'll read it later during the stream. So the repurchase period would be from June 13 to August 31. So it started. Yep, you were right. Other thing with Scarly and Aya is that there were not VTubers prior to this, and just like streaming, so it's hard for them to walk away, even with limited support. I believe so too, Devlin. Somebody said that she was in the Starbucks controversy, but she was the victim. When there's a VTuber that's more a victim of a controversy, then it only boosts her popularity. For example, the Shylily Smolola thing, it probably helped boost Shylily's popularity. When Brittany Venti attacked Gargora, that was also good publicity for Gargora in the end. Aya has a full-time job? Oh wow, on top of streaming? That's insane. So this part is presented a little different. Nijisanji doesn't give the performers remuneration on this graph. They put everything together, wonder why, under direct variable costs. and that direct variable cost is pretty significant. Meanwhile, Hololive has the event split off from the performer remuneration. God damn it, why is that word so hard? Hololive outsources a lot more than Nijisanji does. I have a feeling that Nijisanji hires a lot more in-house employees than Cover Corp. And Hololive's other is huge. I don't know what they have listed as other, and I'm really curious about that. Gross profit. So here, so like Hololive kind of spends more, but they also had more revenue. But the gross profit, Nijisanji made a little less. And here, the employee-related expense and personnel are much higher for Hololive. Same with warehouses and what is SG&A. Nijisanji's outsourcing is in here. Wait, they have two different outsourcings. What is the gross profit outsourcing? I'm wondering, like, what falls under that? Is other cost of the building and tech stuff? Oh yeah, Hololive has that big ass studio. It could be that, because that's so much. And this is the part that I was kind of interested in the most. The Vtuber's employee. So Vtubers, any color has 158 and Cover Corp has 85. So any color has twice as much, yet they don't have more employees than Cover Corp. Cover Corp has 509 employees, meanwhile Nijisanji has 430. That's 69, the funny number, less than Cover has with twice as many VTubers. So they're operating way more lean, and they're just making everybody more spread out. Like you're probably in charge of a couple things if you work there. They squeeze you a little more, which doesn't really surprise me, but I mean, they cut corners on cost, that's for sure. 79? Really? I thought that was such an easy equation to do and I still failed it. God damn it. My maths are so bad. All I know from Niji, they are gonna apply mental health, load of bull if you ask me. Also far too late after Selen's incident, delayed failures. Yeah, but people forget fast. By the way, Rima, any color has been hiring more and more employees like crazy. They had around 200 employees before. I'll believe that. I'll believe that. So this is the breakdown of employees. It's interesting. They have 22 corporate, 77 engineers, 73 designers. That is so much. That's like what, artists, graphic designers, riggers, Live 2D. So they're not really outsourcing a lot of this art. It's all in-house artists. They're paying less for these people. But Cover Corp is investing in the future, and I think that could pay off. Like the metaverse and 11%. Some of the investors were a bit worried about the metaverse. I don't know if investors like to think that much ahead. They kind of just want like the money and soon. Because when you put your money in a company, that's like money that you can't use for other investments. So you kind of gotta like calculate your losses. But look how much they have in their content creation. 35% of their employees are just part of the content creation division. That's a shit ton. So where does the manager fit in Niji? That's what I'm wondering too, but they also talk about managers in this one. I read it already, but we can go over it again. I might skip some boring parts and just show you the good stuff. But this meeting is with Riku Tagami and Shinyetsu Rui. He's a CFO and Tagami is the CEO and representative director of Anycolor Inc. Okay, let's start. In the fourth quarter, sales were 8,722 million yen and operating profit was 3.3, I can't say that number. 3,321 million yen. Both sales and profits grew significantly compared to the same period last year, with sales in the commerce sector being particularly strong. Their sales in the commerce sector are always strong, but yeah. Everybody's kind of surprised that they made more, huh? Their promotions are really down. I feel Nijisanji got a lot less promotions than they usually did. They also earned less in super chats, which they attribute to Nijisanji Fest, because they said that like during Nijisanji Fest, I guess people super chatted a lot more, so it's normal that there's like a calm down period after. Another thing that I'm surprised to read is that they say that merchandise such as music CDs is still very popular. And I'm like, what? Really? People still buy CDs? I thought it was all digital nowadays. They also say here that they could have actually earned more in merchandising, but some of the goods sold towards the end were ordered and could not be recorded because they weren't shipped in time. There were some shipping issues. In addition, sales of Nijisanji EN related goods and promotions were lower than expected at the beginning of the fiscal year, resulting in figures slightly below the initial earning forecast. So this is during the Selen drama. The beginning of the year was when the whole backlash against Nijisanji happened. And I remember, because I was in Mexico at the beginning of the year, and that's when it all happened. The variable cost ratio of direct variable cost was 44.8%, which I believe was a good level compared to the previous quarter and at the same period last year. This was due to improvement in the cost ratio for commerce and events. So that means they're spending less making products and doing events, either by being more efficient, or maybe they found like, you know, cheaper materials or cheaper labor, I suppose. In commerce, I believe we were able to appropriately control the manufacturing the manufacturing cost ratio as a result of careful and thorough review of the selling price of product for sale, which would begin in February and April, and careful selection of suppliers. Oh yeah, there you go. Careful selection of suppliers. As for events, we held the Nijisanji Fest in the third quarter. This was a somewhat unique event in the form of a festival, and while it was less profitable in some areas, we believe that the music event we held in the fourth quarter produced good results, including in terms of profit margins. This is kind of good because if it produces good results, then that means they will do more festivals, they'll do more concerts, and they'll do more events, which in the end that's good for the livers that are there. I will explain by area. First, the live streaming area. There was a backlash from the large number of I had to reread this sentence 3 times because they worded like it's backlash, but they just mean like a counter effect about the Nijisanji Fest causing more super chats. So people super chat less in the next quarter. And they also say that they held live event related to the major popular domestic VTuber units like Chrono Noir and Roth Mayo. Chrono Noir and Roth Mayo make so much money for Nijisanji, and they're like a good presentation card for them. They're like 2 units that are highly successful for them, and they want to put this forward as much as they can because it just they look so good for them. Similarly, promotions were the highest ever. Wait, I kind of said the opposite earlier. I was wrong, I suppose, but it looks very slim. I guess they just don't get a lot of promotions. Hololive Cover Corp gets a lot more promotions than they do. Although there were no major deals in the fourth quarter, the high promotion figures were driven by the increase in the number of deals. By group, we believe that the momentum of Nijisanji in Japan will continue to be strong. High growth continues centered on the top VTuber units. We would like to continue to create solid growth centered on the popular Nijisanji in Japan from next fiscal year onward. Not much about EN. This is the trend of the VTuber number of VTubers and indie color ID. In the fourth quarter, the domestic VTuber Nijisanji had 3 debuts and 2 graduations, and Nijisanji EN had 2 graduations. So Niji EN is it Selen and Pomu, or is it Kyo? I'm a little confused about that. And then for the Nijisanji, it was that Niji ID guy, and who's the other one? Pomu and Kyo. Yeah, Selen was terminated, so they're not gonna count it as graduation here. Wait, they're not including terminations in this numbers. They're just gonna count the official graduations. Oh, they're hiding the terminations. Ooh. Oh, I don't like that. Okay. That is weird. Oh, Pomu was Q3. That makes more sense. I was like, wait, really? Are they actually gonna do that? I think it's Q. I think it's that. I believe that more. Pomu was Q3 because she was very early on. And then it would be Selen and Kyo. That would make more sense. Okay. That makes more sense. Alright, they're not that scummy. Regarding their debut, 3 VTubers known as 3SKM have made their debut. It is our custom to release merch for new VTubers as welcome goods when they debut. Looking at the sales of the welcome goods, the results have been very good compared to VTubers who debuted in the past few years. And we believe that we can expect great things from them in the future. Is that the new group with the maid and stuff? No, it's not. Oh yeah, no, it's that, guys. We watched them on stream. Their debut was great and they're getting a shit ton of promotion. So yeah, I believe that they're gonna do well, actually. I believe that. This is the trend in the number of employees. We hired about 10 new graduates in April of the 4th quarter, which led to a large increase in the number of employees. What do they mean by graduates? Oh, is it from the VTuber Academy? In terms of breakdown, in addition to increasing personnel due to the current expansion of business as merchandise planning and corporate sales, we are also hiring a wide range of personnel, mainly project managers, so more managers, that's good, involved in new VTuber production, VTuber managers, studio engineers, etc. I don't remember when Micah graduated now, but I think I put that in my first Nijisanji video. So that was probably even before Pomu. Sales trend by business area. Looking at each area, commerce continues to be the main driver of growth. In addition, the BTOB area of promotion is also showing steady growth. We believe that growth centered on commerce and promotion will continue into the next fiscal year and beyond. So this part is a bit like Cover Corp strategy. They want to focus more on monetizing their IP and they don't want to rely on fans donation as much. I think that makes sense. I mean, fans donation, they highly fluctuate, and IP is a more long-term steady monetization income. I wonder if they take into account the length of employment of the managers they hire, since their managers have been famously high rotation rates. They definitely don't, and I'd say I feel like most VTuber managers probably don't have much experience in the first place. Not just in Nijisanji, but in most idol stuff, in most VTuber agencies. It's a pretty new market. This is the quarterly sales trend. As I mentioned earlier, commerce sales contributed significantly to sales, accounting for about 60% total of sales. It's huge. But yeah, here it's kind of what I was saying, that the commerce sales tend to fluctuate greatly depending on what and when and what products are released. In addition, there is no clear seasonality because certain products are not sold at certain times of each year. So Nijisanji plans to continue their current initiative centered on producing popular VTuber units, which is making more Rough Mayos, making more of that other one that I can't remember the name. And they're doing that. I think they have plans of doing that with Nijisanji EN as well. In terms of areas, we would like to expand in areas such as promotion and events with commerce at the core. So they're not even mentioning live streaming here. They don't really care about live streaming. And I think that's kind of a wise choice. You can't always rely on the audience because, I mean, as they've seen in the last quarter, the audience feelings toward the companies are changing sometimes. So they need to think really long term. And Cover Corp and their competitors are starting this big project. So Nijisanji, they gotta keep up. They gotta invest in something. And right now they're only reinvesting in buying buy stocks. They haven't put in the work backstage to sustain an invested audience. They have a very invested audience in Japan. We still gotta, like, we're in American soil and we see one part of Nijisanji, but Nijisanji is they're breaking into the mainstream in Japan. They're very, very popular. And also the way people view corporations in Japan is different than here. Here we like to see individualism. We like to see uniqueness. We want to feel like the corporations are there for us. We want to feel like the corporations are invested. But in Japan, they don't necessarily see it that way. They live with like the Samsungs and all of that, Nintendo, those big corporations, and they are revered. They're symbols of success, but look at the way they treat people. Look at the way they treat their competitors. They're actually Machiavellic. It's also where I compare this to the music industry a lot. The music industry is made out of sharks. It's fucking ruthless. And I mean, VTubers, agencies, at the end of the day, they are based on idol models. So yeah. By group, we believe that the growth of Nijisanji in Japan remains strong and has a lot of room for growth. So we would like to grow our business centered on popular Nijisanji VTubers in Japan. The popular VTubers, Japanese VTubers, are just carrying the company. As I mentioned earlier, last year's performance volatility was particularly noticeable. In formulating our performance plan for this fiscal year more than half a year ago, we have been working hard to level out and optimize the sales schedules for commerce, and now they see less volatility in our performance this fiscal year. This is the forecast. Okay, we've seen this. Business summary. I wish it translated this image. I will explain our management policy for medium-term growth. First, I will give a brief overview of our business. I haven't read that part yet. Our company was founded in 2017 and launched the VTuber business Nijisanji production in 2018. Fun fact, they were actually called the Shikara before. As shown in the slide, we are one of the largest VTuber production companies in Japan, with a wide variety of VTubers, including male and female VTubers, VTubers of genders other than male and female, and VTubers using non-human characters. In addition to live broadcasts on YouTube, VTubers foster fan communities by distributing content such as music, programs, short videos, and have created an ecosystem that involves merch sales, live events, promotions, and more. The long-term sales trend, performance trend, there seems to be a bit of a plateau here between 2023 and 24. The market operation in which our company operates. This is the market environment in which our company is located. Our company is in the VTuber market. The bar graph on the right side of the slide shows the forecast for the global virtual idol VTuber market size. It is said that the market will be worth, is that 1 billion? How many zeros is in there? 9, 10? I feel like this Nijisanji presentation is spending so much time on useless stuff. Talk to me about EN. One of our company's features are diverse fan base. Because we have a wide variety of VTubers, we have built a wide fan base across genders and age, with a focus on young people and Gen Z. The pie chart on the left side of the slide shows the gender ratios of merchandise purchaser. It's 68% female, guys! Nijisanji has got a better ratio than Kyo's fan base. And Kyo's got the passive Riz. The report does have useless stuff to distract you from their failures. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at that fan base crazy that it's 68% female. Hey, whoa. What are you trying to say about women? Huh? What are you trying to say about women? Niji's sister is the right name for them. Yeah, like they have a better ratio than Kyo's fan base, I'm telling you. Alright, so the second feature, regardless of when they debuted, whether they've been with the group for a long time or just recently debuted, each VTuber contributes a certain percentage to revenue. The graph on the right side of the slide shows the revenue contributing per VTuber. The top 10 VTubers make up about 30% of the total. This is pretty much how it goes, and the top 30 make up about 50%. You can be one of the top 10 or you can be one of the 30. Which one do you choose? Compared to other entertainment fields such as game and anime or even other talent agencies, VTubers do not rely heavily on a single piece of content or a single talent for their revenue, but rather each individual VTuber contributes to a wide range of revenues. We believe that by distributing revenue across a wide range of VTubers in this way, we have created a system that allows for more sustainable and stable growth. No, dude, there's no favoritism in Nijisanji. It's all fair and game there. Just trust, okay? Just trust. Here they're saying that they basically just expect sales to go up. And here, key policies for midterm business goal. Oh yeah, they talk about the Virtual Talent Academy here. I have my theory about Virtual Talent Academy. I am wondering if those VTubers are listed as employees. And I'm wondering if once they debut with Nijisanji, are they listed as employees? Because in a future graph, they are. So that means they're salaried. And I know that... Have you guys ever heard of the Pussycat Dolls? It's like an American group. And these girls became very popular at one point. I think in the like 2000s, 2010s. But these girls had all signed a contract that was a salaried contract. And when you sign a salary contract, there's like a cap of the amount you can make. And it was like a super long year contract. So even though they were super famous, they made like $35,000 a year. Yeah, that group lasted like 2 years and they completely fell apart because of obviously what was going on behind the scenes. And it was just it's a crazy story. So when I saw that the Virtual Talent Academy was listed as employees, I thought that was curious, but I would need to have more information. Like, do they have some kind of revenue split? And then they have the salary, or how does it work? Or are they just employees while they're at the academy? And then once they get to graduate as VTubers or debut as VTubers, and is it another contract? What's going on? In order to increase the number of VTubers affiliated with us, we will strengthen our VTA Virtual Talent Academy efforts and implement debut and audition projects to expand our existing fan base. In terms of increasing revenue per VTuber, in addition to developing diverse content, we'll work on developing unit production and expanding our production line in the commerce field. And one more merch. In this way, we will increase new initiative and new lines and provide high quality content in each area. But what is necessary to do is to strengthen our business foundations. Our first priority is to invest in increasing the numbers of employees involved in these areas and expanding our studios. You know what? Yeah, I agree with that, Anycolor. Yeah, you should expand. You should increase the number of employees involved in these areas, and you should expand your studios. I'm happy they're taking these steps. This is actually good. This is hopeful. First, we're looking to hire more employees in order to produce new VTubers, promote unit production, increase content, increase production lines, and project as business. We are considering increasing the number of business personnel in the commerce and promotion field. Okay, but don't... Okay, well, now I'm a little disappointed because everything they're listing here is like promotion, merch promotion, marketing. They do have increased content at least, but a lot of it is, I guess, seeking out new brand deals and working on new merch lines. Additionally, in order to improve the quality of our content and increase the amount of content, we will continue to increase our staff, especially designers and engineers. This will serve as a foundation for growth by implementing the measures I mentioned earlier to increase the number of VTubers and increase profitability. Where did it say they were employees? I think I saw that later. I don't know where I saw that. I gotta find it before I say stupid shit. Oh, yeah, this is important. So they're investing a lot in the distribution of studios, so they need to like justify this expense. And and you know, like the Nijisanji investors, they're not used to seeing those big numbers go into the spending budget. They're like, whoa, 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 what are you doing here, buddy? What is this? That's more than 1%. We believe that studios are necessary for creating live broadcasts and recorded content, and by its increasing the scale, the amount of content that can be handled will increase. In addition, we will create a system that will enable us to provide even higher quality content by introducing equipment in both motion capture and recording. We are currently working on creating a studio that can provide content that will contribute to expanding the fan base of the VTuber business Nijisanji. Strengthening the Virtual Talent Academy initiative. Recording the VTA initiatives, as I mentioned earlier, we have about 10,000 people apply for each edition. That is a lot of people. From there, we aim to have an average of 10% to 15% new debuts per year, and select about 50 to 60 VTuber candidates per year. Jesus! For these selected candidates, we create a system to produce VTubers who can be successful in the medium to long term, including lessons in acting and voice training, as well as classroom lessons on how to deal with scandals and compliance. Yeah, they're gonna need that one. So there they get PR training, I suppose. We will strengthen our efforts by steadily expanding the number of VTuber candidates we accept and creating an environment that makes it easier to discover talents that can thrive in the medium to long term. On the right side of the slide, we have posted a unique audition project that we have been working on recently. For the Mascot Liver audition, we are looking for people who want to become VTubers who work in the so-called fancy character field. In addition, the audition for the Super Elite Liver is a new project to allow people with a profile that has not been seen much as a VTuber until now, such as businessmen and professionals, to take on the role. We are planning to secure talent that can reach a wider fan base than ever before. What does it mean by that? Like a businessman and professional? Like a member of the staff would have a VTuber? Or actually have a businessman as a VTuber that would talk about business? I suppose in this initiatives would go like the VTuber twins that they were looking for as well. In addition to the two initiatives I just mentioned, we are currently working on other initiatives like this. We would like to continue to strengthen our efforts in the future so that we can acquire talent that can approach new fan bases through audition projects and new talent. Also wondering what they mean by the Super Elite Liver and the Mascot Liver edition. And what is the fancy character field? That's gotta be a mistranslation. I wonder if they mean voice acting. That's what I'm wondering. Are they trying to recreate an HN figure? Like, is it somebody from the staff? In future, we plan to create a system that will enable 1 to 2 units per year to begin producing content as a unit. Alright, I want to see more of that in Niji-en. Not a bad strategy. In Japan, a lot of popular YouTubers are people who talk about business and life. Dude, you know what? Yeah, why not? I feel like corporations don't tap into VTubers that fit outside of the idol mold enough. VTubers that talk about other stuff, kind of like me. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I am a supervillain, so I might. That could work. That could work. That fills a niche, and there's demand for that. VTuber audiences are multifaceted individuals. Like, each one of you has a life outside of the stream, outside of watching VTubers. Each one of you, you know, you might have different jobs, you work in different fields, you like other stuff than just VTubers or anime or gacha games, or at least I hope. And you know, you buy clothes, you might get a watch, you might cook food, like you have other interests. And I feel like sponsors and VTuber corporations, they don't see that, and I feel like they're missing out on a lot. There's a lot of untapped potential here. The problem with Nijisanji is that there's no talent advocacy within the company. Because of that, it breeds an environment of homogenization despite shotgun business model that meant to play to niches. Well, maybe they are just trying to fix that problem with this now. Maybe they're realizing this now. Like, Mafu is one of the top live streamers in that area. I think he was on top of the charts with like Mika Neko just a few weeks ago. Like top super chats or popularity or something. Regarding strengthening our commerce business, commerce account for approximately 60% of our revenue. The first is the expansion of product planning and manufacturing lines. The second is the management of an appropriate sales schedule. Bro, they sold stuff the day after the Selen termination. We believe that in order to plan products that will sell, sufficient lead time is necessary. By managing sales that we can ensure sufficient lead time and conduct sales at the optimal frequency, we hope to reduce opportunity loss. What's the optimal lead frequency between sales? I'm curious. The third is product planning that is in line with the time. Stuffed toys have become popular recently, so we're selling Ninji Papetto, a a stuffed toy of a VTuber belonging to our company. And in order to make our Chicky style cards a higher quality product, we are selling real Chicky cards. In this way, by selling and planning higher quality products that are in line with trends and that our fans will increasingly desire, we hope to strengthen our commerce operation. Well, as long as they don't sell us those dropships necklaces, and they've had some really wonky merch in the past, so please, by all means, the higher quality products, I'm all in for it. Do right by your fans. Basic principle of business investment and shareholder return. I hope they talk about the stock buyback here. I would like to talk about our image of capital allocation. In our medium-term management plan, we have set a goal of cumulative operating cash flow of approximately 40 billion yen by the fiscal year end of April 2027. Our current cash and deposits are approximately 16 billion yen. As for how to allocate these funds, first of all, from the perspective of growth investment in the VTuber business, as I mentioned earlier, by investing in human resources, we will increase the number of measures we can handle and grow by creating high quality content. In addition, we're considering investing 3 to 5 billion yen in the studios I mentioned earlier, as well as in the development of a media mix such as anime and games as a spin-off business of Nijisanji. So this is something that Cover Corp is actually a step ahead of Nijisanji, because they already have this Hololive indie project going on, and they already have an anime going on. It's a mini series about magical girls, and go watch it. My wife Marine is in it. We also expect to have approximately 20 billion yen in cash on hand and an M&A investment framework. The remaining 30 billion yen or more will be used to return profits to shareholders. We plan to use this primarily through share buybacks. I've spoken about this before. The board of directors has resolved to buy back approximately 7.5 billion yen worth of treasury stock through market purchases between June 13 and August 31st, 2024. Regarding our policy regarding M&A, we expect to have a maximum M&A budget of approximately 50 billion yen. By utilizing the cash on hand and M&A investment funds that I mentioned earlier, as well as debt, etc., we have not factored M&M in our medium-term management goals. Okay, I don't care about that. We believe that the VTuber business is a business that produces IP in the form of characters and talent, and has the function of growing and monetizing the IP. Yes, yes, and yes to this. I'm with Nijisanji on that line. As for potential M&A target, we are considering companies in the entertainment field that can acquire IP pipelines, and companies that have the function to grow and monetize IP, in addition to synergies with VTubers. We envision increasing the number, types, and function of IP that the company can handle. Now, what's the long-term vision for Nijisanji? No, they can do more share buybacks. Yeah, they can. It's already been approved. It's already been voted. She can't take Hagwife. I'm good with Fuwa Waifu. Well, they're human beings, but they're also IP. Like, Jennifer Lopez is an IP. Like, her face is... if you're gonna put Jennifer Lopez's face on a product, you're gonna have to pay a license. And that's what they're aiming to do. If Samsung wants to put the Nijisanji livers on their products, they're gonna have to pay them. If the NBA wants to do a promotion with Nijisanji, they're gonna have to pay them a large sum of money. So it's worth it, because it's kind of like you're doing money, but you don't necessarily need to stream for it. Like a really strong VTuber, a VTuber that has a really strong IP right now is Gargora. Like, Gargora's farming money even though she's not streaming. Oh, I kind of... yeah, I get it, the wedge. No worries. Okay, here they're saying they want to expand their scope of activities, artist, singer, comedian, and they hope to widen fan base that loves VTuber even more. Furthermore, we believe there is a high demand for Japanese anime content overseas. That's us. And we aim to expand the VTuber market by working hard to expand VTuber overseas. Do they mean English or other countries? We don't know. We would like to work on creating an environment where VTubers can exist as a form of content that represents Japan, including and related to derivative fields. As a company, we aim to become a company that can represent Japan and be active around the world. This is about the goals of the medium-term management plan. It does not include an improvement in the operating profit margin, but have you factored in any investment that will contribute to medium to long-term business growth, such as talent support system or expansion of studios? In our midterm business plan, we forecast an operating profit ratio of 40% in the medium to long term. However, our actual performance in the most recent period was 38.6%. We have seen some improvement, but it has remained roughly flat. Yeah, we saw the graph earlier. It was pretty flat. In terms of details, the variable cost ratio was 46.5%, and the marginal profit ratio was 53.5% in the most recent fiscal year. Other cost items accounted for approximately 15%, resulting in an operating profit of 38.6%. I wonder if that's good or bad. I can't compare to any other industry, so I don't know. But I feel like that's probably decent. Oh, but they're aiming for 40% profit ratio, so maybe that's not that good. Maybe that's better, 40. The next largest cost is labor cost. The labor cost ratio to sales has been in the 7% range. Wait, that's so little. It's kind of like when you see these big productions and you see like all these guys operating these machines that cost a fortune, and these guys are paid like dog shit money. It's sad that these machines cost more or are worth more than the humans handling it. I wish we would remunerate people a little more and have those machine costs less. It's a little stupid. Other costs include office related costs, outsourcing costs, including these labor costs currently account for approximately 7% of the total. As well, regarding this, we expect that economies of scale will come into play as sales grow, and taking this into account, we are projecting an operating profit margin of 40% during the medium-term management plan period. Areas that will contribute to this fiscal year performance. Alright, we're almost at the good part. I like the Q&As the most. The question was, the first quarter performance plan has been clearly stated regarding the likelihood of achieving the performance target for this fiscal year. I assume that the sales plan for the second through fourth quarters is expected to set a new record on a quarterly basis. What kind of contribution do you expect from this? Oh, we got some intel. Thank you, Ichibi. Based on some quick research, for most business, an operating margin higher than 15% is considered good. It makes sense because Nijisanji has said time and time again that operating a VTuber business is very cost efficient. Like, it's a low operating margin for how much money you can make. Okay, so Niji is planning for the quarterly figures to increase. Looking at the details by area, we are most focused on the growth rate of commerce. This is the area where it is easiest to plan, as the company plans carefully in advance to generate sales. Looking at each group individually, we believe there is a lot of room for sales growth, especially among the top tier of Nijisanji domestically, and we see Nijisanji's commerce domain as the biggest growth area. As for other areas, we plan to significantly increase both the scale and number of events compared to the previous year. I feel like this is all the same. Like, we're planning to increase this, we're planning to hire more people so we can accelerate and pump out more content. Okay, we got it. This is interesting because it's in regard to the stock buyback, and this is what they say about it. Regarding shareholder returns, how would we understand the background to a decision to prioritize share buybacks over dividends, and the thinking behind the 7.5 billion yen scale this time? This is in line with the company's capital allocation approach that Mr. Tagami mentioned earlier. We currently have just under 16 billion yen in cash on hand. Looking ahead to future plans, we expect to generate operating cash flow of approximately 40 billion yen, as most of the profit we make will essentially be operating cash. In that process, we are considering investing in business growth that we want to undertake as a company and using the resulting surplus cash as a return to shareholders. I explained this earlier in simpler terms. I'll read this and then I'll explain it. The reason we prioritize share buybacks is that when we consider the shareholder composition of our company, our representative, Mr. Tagami, that's Tazumi, right, owns just under 45% of the shares. And if we were to return dividends, 45% of the return would go to a major shareholder rather than the minority shareholders. So basically, because Tazumi, he owns 45% of the shares, if they do a dividend, which means like they give you back like what you own, they give you back your cut of the quarter. Is it the quarter? Anyway, they give you back some money. Nijisanji actually does a lot more dividends than the other companies I've noticed. And they're saying that it would just reward Tazumi basically because he owns most of it. So instead what we're gonna do is a share buyback, and that's kind of like handing out money to people too. It's the same, but it's more efficient for them because even the smallest shareholders do it. Now, if that's the real reason why they're doing that, we don't know. But everybody's gonna be winning in this a little. Like, let's say you bought 100 Nijisanji stocks at 2,000 each. Now they're gonna be worth 2,500. You've made money. If you want that, if you want to cash out, you can sell your stocks, or you can sit on it. Growth in customer numbers and average customer spending in the fiscal year ending April 2024. The question was, please tell us how much the 26.3 sales growth for the April 2024 fiscal year will be divided into the growth in customer number and the growth in average customer spending. Also, please tell us the breakdown of domestic and overseas sales forecast for the April 2027 fiscal year. Here, he really answers in an extremely vague way. He doesn't really answer the question. He says, we cannot collect customer numbers across the board for each area. We cannot provide accurate figures. However, based on my intuition, I believe that most of the increase is due to an increase in customer numbers. Therefore, compared to last year, we believe that the number of customers who pay at our facility has increased by about 30%. Looking at EC, the number of customers has increased significantly. The average customer spending may not be declining, but it's not growing significantly either. The overall feeling is that the situation is roughly the same, and I think that the number of customers is growing significantly and is driving it. Okay, he's repeating the same thing again. Giving dividends is actually one of the signs of a mature company. It says that you're rewarding the shareholders, and the shareholders like that. But it says something about a company's investment. It's like there's kind of the drawback to this is that the company's not investing in like the investors are going to be like, well, you're investing in share buybacks instead of investing in future project. Is that really better? And they're going to question that, and then the company needs to answer them, and they need to give them like a convincing response, right? Okay, we're getting to the good part. Overseas growth strategy. The question is, please tell us about your overseas growth strategy, especially the measures you plan to take in English-speaking countries. They're spending cash on hand to make increase on paper is not a viable long-term strategy. I guess we'll see. I mean, more shareholders want more money, so it's kind of sad. That's the truth. Yeah, they do. All right, let's read this part. We've been waiting the whole stream for it. For example, we held an AR live concert in the 4th quarter, and more recently we've been working on a 3D debut broadcast and Niji EN Encounter, a music content project which bears of people create release songs. So this is in line with their unit projects that they want to start releasing. These are really good for promotion. The AR live has been viewed by many more people than we expected. Of course, we recognize that there have been some changes in our audience behavior. What do you guys think they're talking about here? Of course, we recognize that there have been some changes in our audience behavior. They're talking about all the backlash that they received during January, February, March, and since then. But we have once again recognized that there is a certain number of people who continue to support us and will first focus on those people. As they should. That's kind of how you power through a controversy, though. You focus on the ones that are still there. In addition, in order to build a relationship of trust with our customers, we believe that we need to continue to strengthen the creation of content that will captivate our customers, including 3D unveilings, music content, and tournament-like content. I kind of made this prediction when people were asking what do you think Nijisanji needs to do to get back to where they used to be, to repair their reputation. It's kind of just keep your head down, start releasing good content, give the people what they've been asking for, the 3Ds, the concerts, the big events, and slowly the controversy, you know, the internet unfortunately forgets pretty fast. Slowly it's just gonna, you know, people will talk about it progressively less and less and less, and maybe they can get back on the road. In addition, in terms of profits, we have customers in many different countries, regions, and cultural spheres. So we need to take measures that are different from the ones we have taken in Japan so far. Yes, they're recognizing the difference in culture in Western fan base and in Eastern fan base. In terms of expanding sales channels and acquiring clients to sell to, we will leverage our methods a little differently from those we have taken in Japan. More dividends means more money to investors, but less money being reinvested in the company. That's such a good way to explain it, Rodrigo. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's like a simple but efficient way to explain it. Actually, that. This is about the event at Shima Spain Village. They had an event there, and they said that it worked well. How does it feel to be mainstream? He's basically saying it's becoming more common and they're being more featured on television. And they're talking about, they're saying that Nijisanji kind of represents Japan in a way now. It's recognized by a wide range of people. Oh wait, he says that he doesn't think they have reached a point where they can represent Japan, but he's saying that anime has really broken into mainstream, and he's saying that VTubers are more and more known. We would like to work on media strategies and content approaches that can reach a wider range of people so that VTubers can become a form of content that represents Japan. Here, I believe, like my understanding of this is that they're talking about this anime series, they're mentioning the music stuff. They want to break into the mainstream. For example, like Marine was doing well in Hololive, but then when she released Treasure Box, that song was a mainstream hit. Radios were playing that song, malls were playing that songs. Like you'd go to parties, that song would play. That song was banned in a couple radios, so not all of them obviously, but it went big, and that drove like an influx of people to her channel. So that's a mainstream breakthrough. So when even the normies hear or see your content. About the investment amount and depreciation burden for the studio, please let me know if you have any idea of the amount of capital investment required for the studio and what the depreciation cost will be. We're currently working on construction, and we estimate that the final investment in the studio facilities will be around 2 billion yen. We are currently considering various options regarding the amortization period, but we do not believe at this point that the amortization burden will be noticeably larger than in the past, so negligible. Stock market liquidity. The question was, you plan to return profits to shareholders entirely through share buybacks, but what are your thoughts on market liquidity for 4 years? Welcome, Raiders! I'm just going over the Nijisanji finance transcript. We're at the best part right now, where they're talking about their overseas expansion and measures to revive Nijisanji EN. That's the next one we're going over. Looking at the current shareholder composition, our representative, Mr. Tagami, aka Mr. Tazumi, owns just under 45%. In addition, we have business companies with which we have capital, and business alliances, meaning that around 50% of the totals are fixed shareholders. They have really big shareholders in that company, like Sony Music, etc. We believe that the remaining 50% or so of our shares are positioned as tradable shares. In that sense, we believe that continuous share buybacks during the planning period will not pose any problem in terms of market liquidity, even in light of the standards of the Tokyo Stock Exchange. Now, measures to revive Nijisanji yen. Regarding the progress of the measures to revive Nijisanji yen, the downward trend is sales continues on a Q-on-Q basis. But when do you expect it to bottom out? Does Q-on-Q basis mean quarter-on-quarter basis? Sony and any color, a match made in hell. Hell yeah. First, let me add a bit of quantitative information. In our plan for this fiscal year, we are planning to focus more on the growth of Nijisanji domestically. Oh, so like in Japan? Yeah, I wonder why they're saying that. They want to focus more on Niji JP. And we're not factoring in the numerical growth of Nijisanji yen. I wonder why. Yeah, they're like, no, we're not really factoring in the Nijisanji yen growth. It's not really our priority. However, we are working on a lot of things related to Niji yen, so Togami will briefly add what he is currently working on. And there it is, they're scaling back from yen. Yeah, this does make it sound like they're scaling back from yen. It does. But let's see what he says here. But he does say that he has some projects. As I mentioned earlier, we regularly create content to catch the eye of customers in the Vtuber market, such as 3D unveilings and tournament planning. By continuing to provide attractive content, we hope to strengthen the relationship of trust with our fans. Okay, I'm not very satisfied by that answer. It was very brief, very diplomatic, but he kind of just repeated what he said there. I want a little more than that. He's literally just, he's sticking to his script. He's sticking to his script. He's not gonna go off script. The last section is also very good. Q&A, losing core fan base. But he's also very diplomatic in the way he answers that question too. It leaves me a little wanting more. The question is, while you expect a steady expansion of the fan base, have you seen any core fans leaving? I think I know the answer to that question. How do you anticipate the risk of your core fan base abandoning you? And can you tell us what types of cases you have seen where core fans are abandoning you? Again, this is just a subjective opinion, but in addition to the risk of VTubers graduating, I also think that a backlash or other scandals can cause the fan base to leave. Man, you don't say. You don't say. In order to minimize the occurrence of such incidents, I believe it is necessary to reduce risk by not only having a training system in place. Oh, this is why they're pushing the Virtual Talent Academy. So I think, okay, this connects back to the paragraph we read about the Virtual Talent Academy. So by going through the Virtual Talent Academy, they would get the PR training necessary to deal with scandals. Like they say here, they would get lessons in acting and voice training, as well as classroom lessons on how to deal with scandals and compliance. But also by making appropriate releases and responses as a company when an incident actually occurs. Thank you. Oh my god. Yes, yes. Are they acknowledging that they're gonna make like appropriate response and they're gonna acknowledge when backlash is happening? When a response is due. Not every backlash requires a response. I think some backlash, it's better to just ignore it. But some stuff, they definitely should have spoken out against a long time before it came down to a boiling point. Oh, but VT is only for JP. Wait, you're right. So that's not even an EN. Wait. So maybe, okay, maybe that's a good point. Maybe maybe they will give PR training to new VTubers then. Maybe this alludes to that. Yeah, we need more transparency from the company and we need more communication. And I think that would greatly help them. I think they did the exact opposite of what they should have done when choosing which controversies to address and which one to let slide. Yeah, I mean, they waited for a really long time till it was too late. Then they addressed the Selene stuff, and then they addressed it wrongly. So yeah. Ian honestly seems to be doing double duty as Niji's PR test dummy, so I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up in the VTA curriculum as case studies. They end up in the textbook that they teach them in class. And do you think YouTube cracking down on ASMR content is going to impact Niji's fan base? I don't know, man. They'll have, the thing is, they don't allow them to have like multiple revenue streams. Like they wouldn't be able to take their spicy ASMRs to Patreon or something, but they totally should. They might have to keep it more seizo and stick to the role playing. Hololive goes the extra mile to find managers that click well with their talents to guarantee a good work environment. Niji preps their management to cut the rope and let their talents drown at first sign of trouble. Yup. The thing is, so I've been looking at past Vtuber graduations to see if there was a precedent in having Vtubers from the same gen or just other Vtubers speak about the person who graduated or was terminated, and that actually happens often. But usually it's the other VTubers from the same generation that speak up, that say a few kind words or a few words of encouragement to the person leaving, you know, wishing you on the best. She was a great VTuber, we're gonna miss her dearly. The way Nijisanji responded to the Selene graduation was exceptional in the sense that it was a rare case of what the fuck is this. That and the Sayu graduation, they were both, the response was very similar in both. Although the biggest variable was the public response to both was different. Sayu got a lot more backlash, whereas Selene, the fan base was ready because Sayu had already like paved the road a little bit or prepared them for this. Niji's an aberration when it comes to people speaking about peer graduation, where there you go, PR expert has spoken out. If Niji just puts the EN branch on the back burner and doesn't invest in them, they will be overtaken by other agencies like Face and Idol. Even Globee might become... I think Globee's gonna do good, actually. I'm betting on Globee.